Welcome to episode 15 of URI Just Getting Started podcast. Today I'm joined with URI freshman point guard Sebastian Thomas, who is a graduate of Hendricken and a Providence, Rhode Island native. And you're the pride of Rhode Island. Really, everyone loves your story. So what do you want me to call you? Are you Seabass, Bassy, Sebastian? How about this one? Young pup? Where do you want to go?
I prefer Bassy.
Bassy, okay. I was pretty sure you weren't going to go with young pup. And did they really give you a hard time with that? I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Ish Elamine started that.
You know, Ish was on our podcast and he cracked me up. He talked for about 10 minutes about losing his number from Ball State and how traumatic it was. He's a funny guy. This is what I think of you. I haven't seen a freshman make an impact from the get-go since a guy named Jeff Dowden. As soon as you hear those boats here, we're calling in from Miami by the water. You know about that. And I really believe that because Jeff Dowden, we had Jarvis Garrett as a great point guard, and then all of a sudden Jeff Dowden comes in game one and just looks like he belongs. And I felt the same about you. You just look so comfortable out there. I'm sure you had your highs and lows like any freshman would have, and they threw you in the fire for a little bit. But that's my theory on you. What do you think about that? Am I overdoing it a little or no?
I would say that's spot on. Like when I first went on my visit here to URI, we went to the Marriott in I think Newport, and Jeff Dowden was there and stuff like that. But before going to the visit, Coach Cox just told me that I reminded him of Jeff Dowden just because of our feel for the game and our pace, how we play and stuff like that, our IQ. So that was spot on.
Well, anytime that you could tell me that Coach Cox said the same thing as me, it's a good day for me because I have tremendous respect. And you'll hear a little later about my thoughts on Coach Cox, and I think they're very similar to yours. This is just how I describe you. You're confident, fearless. You take care of the ball, which is very important. Turnovers are a big problem for lots of teams. We're watching I'm taking you away from March Madness a little bit. I'm sorry about that. But you see how important it is to cut down on turnovers. And you find these tough angles that a lot of people who make those passes turn into our turnovers. We've seen that in March Madness. You make big shots. We're going to refer to that also, some of the big shots you've made. You might remember one game, Fordham, where you're just a big shot maker. And it's impossible not to root for you. So that's where I go with you. But let's start some questions here. This is pretty much a obvious question. I'm going to ask anyway. How'd you get the name Bassy? Is that's what you like best, or Seabass or Bassy?
So I was like 5 or 6 years old playing basketball at a Providence Recreation Center. And somehow my coach just came up with the name Bassy. And then ever since then, I just started running with that nickname. And now it's like everybody knows me as that. So
it's really good. It's right up there with the best nicknames on the team. I do like Twan, though. And I know you guys know each other a little well. So you're a gym rat also. That could be another name for you. I know your schedule, like 6 o'clock or 7, you get up and start shooting. Is that right? During the season. And then you go to the gym and then you have breakfast. I'm not stalking you. Don't worry about that. But you tend to go to the gym a lot. And what do you think about the announcement of the new practice facility that should be coming up after this season? You'll still only be a junior, I guess, if my math's correct.
I'm excited for URI to start the process of remaking that gym, and I'm just excited to see what it's going to look like when it's done. So, and then hopefully I'll definitely be able to get in there and just practice and work out.
Well, let's now this is a very interactive show. I don't know if you've seen past podcasts. The right answer is yes, but whatever it is. I know you're a busy guy, but I'm going to go with some URI highlights now. So what do you think about what am I seeing here? Little fearlessness, huh?
Yeah, this was me just like being aggressive, and I felt like this year, offensive wise, I didn't really showcase my scoring ability and stuff like that. Just being a freshman, and it wasn't really my role on the team and stuff like that. But as the year went on, I felt like I got a little bit more aggressive and started shooting it more, getting in the paint with my floaters or even taking layups and stuff like that. But you can definitely expect that a lot more from me sophomore next year. I feel like that's one of the biggest things I want to work on is just improving my scoring average and just being more aggressive just because it can open up the floor for others.
I read somewhere where someone or you said that, you know, they're not concerned about your shooting right now. Your average is, you know, whatever it was, it is what it is, because you got a lot of the hard things out of the way. You did the hard things by just being composed, and your shooting will come with it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so coming in as a freshman, I kind of just I didn't know what to expect at first. I mean, I caught on to the speed of the game early and stuff like that. So that part I felt like I did a great job with. But in terms of shooting and knowing when to shoot and picking my spots, I felt like I struggled with that early on, just because I was a little bit anxious at sometimes just to shoot the ball. But definitely as my next year goes on, I'm gonna definitely improve my shooting. And like I said, I'm not really worried about it because I knew throughout my whole life I've been a shooter. So now I can finally showcase that next season. And then this offseason, I'll definitely be working on my jump shot a lot.
I like the way you say next season, because that defines that we'll be seeing you, and we're going to get to that too. But all right, so here we go. Let's meet Sebastian. You're a lefty point guard. How are you getting along with this? It's a tough time for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a difficult process. Just to take it all in. Actually, we were in DC when it happened because we were at the A10 tournament and stuff like that. And my roommate, I was sleeping. My roommate Malik Martin woke me up and was like, "Wake up, wake up!" I think Coach Cox got fired, and I didn't really want to believe it. One, it was early in the morning, so I didn't really want to wake up. And two, hearing that news just devastated me because, you know, Coach Cox was a great coach and just a great and special person outside of the game of basketball. And I didn't really get to spend as much time as I wanted to with him. I was only a freshman, but I'm definitely going to stay in contact with him throughout my life just because he was such a great person to me and my family.
Well, he spoke so glowingly of you so many days when he was interviewed. He had a lot to say. Just he seemed amazed by how well you did so early, and the plans weren't to have you play as a freshman, as you know. But you had a lot to say, to be honest with you. When you tweeted out, you were very upset, and you were bold about it. Tell me about the video sessions and the whole process. It was big news about that. And can you give me like the whole genesis of it, how it started and how it went on, and the whole process of it? It was really cool to hear about that.
Okay, so yeah, so that's just something I do just because it gets me better. Obviously, I'll watch myself first and see where areas where I can improve on during that game, and just in all aspects, like on the defensive side, if I missed something or I should have been in a gap, and then on the offensive side, I look at making the right read. If I missed any passes, obviously turnovers and stuff like that, how I can correct those things. But I also look at things for my teammates just because I want them to be successful and I want us to be successful as a team. I feel like just me being a point guard, that's something I kind of have to do going forward. Is just holding my teammates accountable, and just now that I'll be a sophomore, I feel like I'll have a much bigger voice on the team, and I can tell guys some things that if they're doing them wrong, I can help them with it. So that's just all that is.
Yeah, it was very unique. They were amazed by that, and it was very helpful, I'm sure. When were they surprised at first when you started doing that?
Who, the teammates or the coaches?
Either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the coaches was. I think I heard or seen a comment that said that he was I was like one of the first players that I've ever done that to with Coach Cox. So yeah, that was a good thing to hear.
You grew up going to Providence games because they were closer. You only went to one URI game. I found that to be funny. Was it because it was just easier to go to the games? Were you really a PC fan at the time or a URI fan? What was the side story on that?
So obviously, the Dunkin' Donuts Center is right there in Providence, so it was just a little bit easier to go to those games. But growing up, when I went to PC basketball camp, one of my coaches for 1 year was Chris Dunn. So I really admired his game, and really that's when PC was top 25. I think 1 year they were top 25 with Chris Dunn and stuff like that. So I really just admired his game. And just because he was my coach, I really liked PC when I was younger. But then as I got older, it started to change.
And that was really your dream, Rhode Island, more than PC, right?
Definitely. Like my sophomore year, watching Bats, he was a guard that I also watched and stuff like that. And I would hear his name just from being from URI and in the Rhode Island community and stuff like that. So sophomore year, I told my close friends, and yeah, really my close friends, I really wanted to go to URI. I felt like it would be a good fit for me, being a Rhode Island native, and I didn't really tell anybody else because I didn't really want anybody to know. I just wanted to stay with my close circle, and then finally it came true.
And then you have your AAU career. Can you tell me, I know you played for a number of teams. Can you start with who you started and then finished with?
Yeah, I started with Rhode Island Elite when I was in ninth grade. Back when I didn't really think I could play at this level, so I didn't take it as serious as I did when I was like a junior or a senior in high school. But I started there, and we traveled really not across the world, but traveled throughout New England area and stuff like that. And as I got older and when I played for the oldest team, which is 17U, we really went to Dallas to play like a bunch of top teams and EYBL teams. Like we played CP3, team final. So it was just great competition for me. And I feel like one of the reasons why I was so under the radar in terms of recruiting was just because people didn't really respect RI Elite because it wasn't really a program that was that known. So then after committing to URI, I was talking about it with my family, and they wanted me to play for expressions at the EYBL circuit just to get me ready for college and prepared for college. There's better competition in the EYBL circuit, a bunch of the top players in the country. So then I played for expressions for like the EYBL circuit, which was like 2 weeks. I think we finished out of all the AAU teams, I think we finished 12th, which was really good. And it was just a great experience to go down there in Georgia and see the talent that kids had. And I also saw LeBron James like watching our game. So it was just great.
Did he give you any pointers or did you give him any pointers?
I was, but when he walked into the gym, my eyes were so focused on him that I really didn't really pay attention to our game. So it was just a crazy, crazy moment seeing him walk into our game. This was in Pennsylvania. I think this was one of the first tournaments of that summer. And really, this was just me, my team, dominating, not really dominating, but we were having a good weekend. Oh, this was the game I had 34. But yeah, this experience playing this, and this is just a little bit of some of my highlights from AAU. So as you can see, like more in AAU, I was a little bit more of a scorer and a facilitator, but I feel like I only showed the facilitating part this freshman year. Next year, I'm definitely going to pick it up more on the offensive side of basketball.
When did you get the first notion that URI was going to recruit you? Because it was a surprise for many. And how did you find out?
I was playing in Massachusetts, and we ended up losing in the championship that weekend. But we played DJ Wagner, who was the #1 kid in the country for the class of 2023. And then the next morning, I got a phone call from Austin Carroll, and we were talking, and then he just told me that he was going to offer me and stuff like that. We had been in recent contact before that a little bit, but nothing too serious. It was really a surprise that I got the offer. I didn't really think I was going to, because I felt like they weren't recruiting me heavy at the time. But when he called me and offered me, I was just so excited, and I called my family and my close friends, and I told them, and I was telling them right away, like, I think I want to commit and stuff like that, and I ended up committing not too long after.
He just went out and told you, or did he beat around the bush and just say, "Hey, by the way"? You remember that conversation?
He said, we talked. He called me. And he was just talking. He was asking me how my day was and stuff like that. And then he just hit me with the, I just wanted to tell you that we're going to be offering you. And I was just excited, like very excited. I didn't really expect it coming. So,
You've had some amazing moments, but the biggest one possibly was you really rose to the occasion was the D1 state championship game. You had 32 points in a 58-53 victory over North Kingston. You got the team's final 15 points. Tell me about that game. We'll go to the highlights after this, but I'd love to hear about it.
So that game, I was a junior at the time. In the first half of the game, it was a state title. I mean, state title game. So there was a lot of fans, stuff like that. But the first half of the game, I didn't do so well. I mean, I did all right, but the kid in that picture right there, number 23, he was face guarding me the whole time, basically denying me the ball and just following me everywhere, not trying to let me touch the ball and stuff like that. But in the second half, when I went into the locker room at halftime, I calmed down, and my coaches just said, "Calm down, you're going to be fine," and stuff like that. And then second half, I just had a big half, and I ended up not necessarily winning the game for us, but winning the game for us, even though it's a team thing. Just want to make that clear.
I think you won the game for them, but that's just my observation. And if that game didn't occur, and maybe you had about 10 points or just didn't have a good game at all, you're seeing that in March Madness now. Some of the best players just are having off games. It's just one game of a sample size, but you rose to the occasion. Oh, we have the Bassy transition right now, and we have Coach Archie Miller as the new coach. How do you feel about the hire? Are you happy about him as a coach? Have you done some research on him?
Definitely, I've done a little bit of research and heard he's had some success in the A-10 specifically, but also he coached at Indiana as well, like a couple years ago. And I recently found out that he coached Al Durham, who plays at Providence, and he's also a lefty, and he was the point guard too. So I've done a little bit of I've watched a little bit of film on Al Durham when he was at Indiana, just to see like how they play and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm definitely happy for him getting the job, and I'm excited to get to work with him. I think he's about the right things, and I feel like with him as our coach, if we get the right pieces, we can be very successful.
I believe that too. I'm hearing, this is first year, but with the transfer portal, you bring in a couple missing pieces. You already have great players, and I like what I just heard about you talking about the future, and the future is at URI. So I have to. There's a grin on my face a little bit, Bassy, on that. Have you? I doubt this has happened, but have you spoken to him at all, or it's still too early?
Spoke to him a little bit. We just once he first got the job, I texted him and congratulated him and stuff like that. And then a day after or two, we got on the phone and we really just talked about our vision, his vision for the program and what he's all about. And I think he's about the right thing. I think with him as a coach, we can change the culture here at URI. And I'm just excited to be a part of that. And I'm get to work.
Yeah, and also he's a fast tempo offense guy. Now, why am I not surprised that you're watching videotape already on him? You just are such a hard worker, and you're a scholar of the game more, not just shooting shots at 2 in the morning in the gym. I'm not surprised about that, but have you heard about his fast tempo style of game and what it would do for you? Because you look like you thrive in that environment.
When we were on the phone, we talked a little bit about his play style and how he would use me as a point guard and stuff like that. And he said specifically that I would excel in his style of play just because it's up and down. And this year, even last year, whatever you want to call it, I think there's been times that I pushed the ball and stuff like that, and it's been good for us. Felt like that was something I brought to the table a little different than what Jeremy Shepard did for the team in terms of just pace. And I feel like I wanted to play a little bit faster at sometimes. And but yeah, definitely with him as a coach, I feel like I'll be able to thrive in fast tempo, just like you said.
Yeah, it's just great to hear your insight. And I've watched every second of every game, and I feel like going back and watching some of the games, I kind of feel that you did your best when the team was running. So that is true. I have on the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, I got a chance to meet Chance and he was a podcast guest and a Twitter pal. You were pretty close with him, it looks like. What's this with Draymond and Steph thing? That was pretty cool. You guys had a little bit of a fun reenactment of what it would be like to play with each other there. Tell me about your relationship with Chance.
So when Chance committed, and then he committed before me, and I ended up committing, I think I contacted him about a couple months later just to get to know him and stuff like that, because I feel like that was he was like, me and him were the future backcourt of URI. So I contacted him, get to know him, and then like about 2 weeks ago, he came down just to visit and stuff like that. And I went out to dinner with the family and the coaching staff and one of our other recruits, Nate. So that was my first time getting to meet him. But this tweet is really just joking. Chance is a shooter and stuff like that. So I just said, I'm Draymond, because Draymond usually helps Curry get his shots off and stuff like that, finds Curry in transition, and they just complement each other very well.
At first, I didn't get it because Draymond's like 6'8" and you're like 6'1", 6'2", but I'm a little slow here. Sorry about that, Bassy, but I got it now. And, last week, it looks like you're a URI women's hoops fan too, from what I see in tweets. I had Charnay on, and you know what she's done in her career. She was the all-time assist leader in the entire NCAA. She mentioned something like she made a lot of people very famous, and she got a lot of points for other people. And I kind of feel if Chance is listening right now, you would be giving him a lot of opportunities. What do you think about that with your passing ability and a lot of open looks?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like me just having the vision I have and being able to see teammates and my court vision, I felt like him being with his capability of shooting the 3-point shot, I feel like it would be something beautiful to watch. I would definitely find him and stuff like that, and he would definitely make the threes, because his name is Sniper. But now he decommitted, I believe, and now I just hope for the best for him and his family. But he was definitely a cool kid for sure.
His dad is an actor. He's the real deal too. He's not just like this little bit actor. Officially Ben Stevens. Check out his Instagram page. By any chance, forget me on that little pun on words, but any chance that you or someone else could convince him to come back? I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but it's like a last-ditch appeal to me, and everyone just loves him. What do you think about that? Is it pretty much a done deal?
From what when Coach Cox got fired, I think I was the first one to I called him in the morning as soon as I heard the news, and I told him like basically this is what's going on. And he was really surprised. He didn't even know at the time. So then he recently just put on social media that he decommitted. We haven't spoke since. Maybe I should hit him up and see what he's thinking. But right now, like I'm just trying to focus more on getting Antoine and Malik and all these guys out the portal, just because I feel like we could do something special here if we all stay. But it all depends on whatever they're thinking and whatever's best for them. So whatever is best for my kids, I'm gonna support them and just keep on being their friend. So that's all I can really do.
Do you think you could call him now? Just joking about that. So it sounds like you're off of the portal and you're totally back with URI from what I'm hearing. And if that's true, you know, Rhody Nation is going to be very happy to hear that. You know who's in the portal? Malik's in there, and Twan, and Ish, and yourself, Trace also. But even if I'd like to see everyone come back, but I think that a lot of them will. What's your take on that? You think they will?
Yeah, I think so. I believe Archie just got here yesterday. And he has his little, I don't know what it is, but tomorrow morning I heard something about he'll be somewhere at some building just giving a speech, a welcome speech, I guess. And then tomorrow we're going to finally have a team meeting. So I think from that point on, those kids that are in the portal will be able to see what he's about and be able to connect with him face to face. And I think that could really change their mindset of what they're thinking right now. But I feel like there's a good chance that everyone in the portal, or at least most of the kids in the portal.
Yeah, it's the press conference you're referring to, and I know you have classes. Are you going to be able to go there and check them out?
Yeah, I'll definitely be there.
He seems to have a dynamic personality and he connects with the players. Have you felt that way in your brief conversations with him already?
Yeah, definitely. The conversation we had, it wasn't too long, but I got the feeling that everything he was saying is genuine, and he really likes me as a player. I really can't speak for anybody else what they're for, but for me personally, I feel like we're gonna be connected on a good level.
And now we're talking about the season. It was a great season for you. And I isolated a few games, one of which was the PC game. And, you know, you go into an atmosphere at the Dunk. You grew up there. It's like you're sitting in the stands. Now all of a sudden you're the focus playing on the court. And you came through. And you were playing really well. And there's a lot of fans that had said after the game that they wish you would have stayed in the game longer. Tell us about your experience playing at the Dunk and how you felt you played that game.
Yeah, it was amazing experience to be able to play in front of the city of Providence. I know I had some family there, and I also had some people that I knew there who were cheering for Providence, but also for me just because I know them and they know me. But I could say the night before we had shoot around and nobody was in the gym. It was a little nerve wracking, just because it was like I'm gonna be finally playing on this stage, and I've grown up watching a lot of players be here, play at the Dunk and stuff like that. That night it was just a little nerve wracking, but the next day, which was game day, I feel like I went in the game and I made a play. When Malik got the rebound, he gave it to me. I pushed the ball and I made a good move at like half court on one of the guys, and I hit Ish Elamine in the corner, and he hit a three. And that was probably the most memorable play from that game for me. And then I just remember our bench going crazy and some of the crowd going crazy. But that was basically that game, I felt like I did pretty good. I believe I had like a plus 13. I forgot what it was, but I read something. I was plus 13 and plus minus. And but all I can say for that game, I missed 2 free throws. So
Another game I'd like to talk to you about was the Fordham game. I was watching that, and I haven't seen a lot of what you did that game where you hit through. I didn't think of you as an outside shooter, but great players just make great plays, and you threw down 3 3-pointers in the Fordham game, and we really needed them, and it almost pulled a tough game out. Tell me about that. You're not known for 3-point shooting in college. Definitely, you probably were in high school and AAU. Tell me about that game. Take us to it, like how you felt at that moment.
So the Fordham game was kind of a weird defense that they were playing. So they kind of played the percentage game with me. Whoever really didn't have a good percentage from three, and I remember me and Malik, our 2 guys, were just leaving us open, letting us shoot threes, and that was really the game plan. And I think in the first half we were settling for threes, which they wanted us to do. And I think we were down big at half, like 17. And then I remember second half, I was on the bench, but Jalen Carey was in the game, and he went on a little run. I felt like he brought us back within the game. I think he went on like a 10-0 run, passing and making big shots. And then finally, Coach Cox called my name, and I get in the game. And they left me open another time, and I made the first 3. And then after that, I hit 2 other big threes to tie it. And then that was really it. We just couldn't get over the little hump of getting the lead and stay and winning the game. But yeah, that was a big game for me. I feel like for my momentum with and confidence shooting the ball from games moving forward from that. But yeah, in that game, I remember I hit the 3 to tie it, and then the next play I turned it over, which was a bad turnover. I think they scored on that. So, I mean, that was just a little freshman mistake, but I'm just happy that I was able to gain confidence from hitting those 3-point shots.
Yeah, great players want to take those shots, and they make those shots, and that's what you did there. And I'm expecting to see that more and more your sophomore, junior, and senior season, because you either have it or you don't. And you seem to have it, and you just make big plays, and it really woke up. I woke up a lot. I already was very high on you, but you just surprised me. I didn't know you had that in you at that point, and since then it shapes my opinion of you. Also, another game was the Richmond game. You had some really good games statistically, but unfortunately, you had to play against the all-time leading steal leader in Jacob Gilliard, who, by the way, you guys played those teams, the Richmond team, really well. If it wasn't for the foul shots, you might have had 2 wins. Look how far they went. So to me, I think you had a really good team. And the difference between winning 20 plus games and 15 was maybe 5 foul shots a game in those tough games. What do you think about that? You've had some you also obviously almost beat Davidson twice. What do you think about the team? I think you should be proud of the team in a lot of ways. Your season, do you feel some bright spots in it?
Yeah, definitely there were some bright spots, but overall it was really a roller coaster for us. I mean, we started off 12-5, and we had a lot of momentum going into the A10. Into the conference. But we took a bad loss to GW where we were up 15 points. And then the next game, which was Richmond at home, the crowd was amazing that night. And I got the start. And I didn't know I was going to be starting until like when we were doing starting lineups because I guess Shep went to our trainer and told him his shoulder was hurting. So for me to be starting, it was a little bit surprising for me just because it was like right before the game. I didn't know I was going to start. But in that game, I think I had my career high in assists, which was 7, I believe.
And This one might surprise you, but have you heard of Tom Garrick?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not surprised at that. I consider there's a parallel between you and Tom Garrick. I was a manager on the team when he was a star, before he was a star, and I did a little spreadsheet of the difference between you two. He's a West Warwick guy. You're South Providence. You're pretty much the same height, the same weight. Recruiting, URI was your main recruiting teams. The difference was he was a shooting guard. His statistics were higher, and that's because he played 26 minutes. The team wasn't as strong as your team. They were 8-20, and you were 15-16. But you did as well as he did, in my opinion, for the sample size. And look where he went afterwards. Do you see a parallel between you two? I'm talking mostly freshman year, and just how you came here. He was a surprise to be recruited by URI. You were kind of a surprise too, and look where you are now. I'm going to give the floor to you on that. You see a parallel?
But definitely the stats kind of match up, even out. I guess you could say he just had a little bit bigger of a role on his team than I did. But I'm not sure. I've never watched film on him.
I think you're ahead of him at this point in your career, starting as freshman. So that's just an observation on that. As that, and the last slide, you and are you still roommates? You and Twan?
Me, Twan, Ish Leggett, and Malik were all roommates.
Wow, that must be wild over there with the four of you, the personalities wise. But you and Twan get along really well. There was a roadie close, and he says that Walker says you play too much sometimes. He's a little older than you. What do you say to that? Is that accurate?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. When I'm not playing basketball and we're just chilling in the room, I'm definitely a goofy kid who likes to laugh and just likes to play a lot. But yeah, that's definitely my big brother. As soon as I got here, he kind of just showed me around campus and stuff like that, and we've just been locked in ever since. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, you seem to like him so much, and you tweeted out. Obviously, he's a great player and highly efficient player. And this was one of your tweets about his effective field goal percentage. So overall, you two are really strong, and it's great to hear the relationship you have. Now, finishing up, I wanted to show you a little bit about your D1 state title.
At fifth place, same game, Sebastian Thomas with the steal and score for Hendricken. Hawks rally from 7 down in the final 2 minutes to take home the D1 crown. Those are your nominees. Vote starting tonight, abc6.com.
So how does that feel watching that? That was some game, huh?
Yeah, it just makes me think back to my Hendricken times and playing for the coach I had, which was Coach Gomes. Probably one of the best coaches in my life. I mean, him and David Cox are tied. And now having this new coach, Archie Miller, we shall see what he does for me and how we connect on a player to coach relationship. But that shot right there, that was I think we were down 2 at the time, and my teammate drove and kicked it to me, and I hit that big shot. Yeah, I mean it was a big shot, but I felt like in my lifetime I made a couple game winners before, or another big shot like that. So it was normal. It wasn't normal for me, but I knew I had it in me to be able to make a shot like that.
Yeah, and you did it in the Fordham game to some extent too. There were big parts of the game. You scored your team's final 15 points. And did you see the Gonzaga game last night?
Yeah.
Well, you see Timmy, and he scored a bunch of points in a row, and you did the same. I know it's a different comparison, being the number 1 team in the country and the number 1 team in the state, but the bottom line is 15 points is 15 points, and you could take over a game, and I'm expecting that from you. Well, we've learned a lot today Bassy, and thanks so much for coming out on a Sunday. It's a beach day. I have a feeling you wouldn't be going to the beach. You'd be in the gym. Am I right or wrong?
Not at this time of the year.
Yeah, it's still a little too cold for you. I'm sorry, I'm in Miami. But after we conclude this podcast, I'm going to go with the highlights from your AAU season and what we watched, and to end it there. But once again, thanks so much, Bassy, and I wish you the best. And you've said some really good things today that a lot of URI fans will be happy to hear watching this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Sebastian Thomas. I'm a point guard in the class of 2022. I play for Rhode Island Elite, and I go to Springfield Commonwealth Academy in Massachusetts. I would describe my game as a very unselfish point guard, looking to get my teammates open shots, but a guard who can also score the ball when he needs to, and a leader, someone that brings a group together and very vocal. Improvement, I would say my jump shot, and I'm still improving on that, but still got to get better, but that's the one thing I improved on the most. Right now I have one offer from Siena. I got a couple of looks from URI, Brown, Rutgers, Mount St. Mary's. Those are a couple of schools.